Hello, everybody, and welcome into another Prospect Corner here at the Hockey Writers. I'm your host, Matthew Zator, and as always, joined in by Dayton Reimer and Peter Baracchini. And we are now full on draft mode as we keep World Juniors are done. Coverage was great, led by Dayton. That was a fun tournament. Like we went through our recap and reaction after that, and now we shift to the draft and full out. And our prospect profiles will be coming out soon, and so keep an eye out for that. But Peter, you just released your January rankings, top 64. There were some changes up at the top, so we're just going to jump right into that and start with your top five. So let's get into it.
Yeah, everyone's going to be begging the question right now, who has the advantage first overall? And everyone still thinks that, Gavin McKenna has that skill, but there are a lot more questions than answers with McKenna right now. The projectability still for him to be a very productive winger in the NHL. But after his World Junior Tournament, I had to go with Ivar Stenberg, number one, mainly because better all-rounded game. Little bit more consistency off the puck. I think that's the biggest one with Gavin McKenna too in the comparison between the two players. Stenberg has a lot more to offer. He's much more engaging in battles, very physical. He's great on back checks and pressures through the neutral zone. Pushes, keeps defenders on their heels when he's on the attack too. Plays a little bit with an edge too that I think teams will like. And yeah, he may be on that maybe just smaller side of things in terms of his height, but that does not affect him. The way that he's playing against men should help as a good progression for his game going forward. So I had to give him the edge right now at first overall. Number two, it is Gavin McKenna. Again, phenomenal World Junior Tournament, but like I said, the consistency, off puck issues, defensive game, lack of engagement, those are things that teams want to see in a player, and that can all change. Players could develop that and get into that mindset like later on in their career, and that would be fantastic. But right now, I just don't feel comfortable having McKenna at number one, but the skill set is undeniable regardless. And we saw that, no look backhand neutral zone stretch pass in one of his first few games back. I mean, that was absolutely ridiculous. And that's the reason why you can't probably have him any lower than two, possibly three, but that's about it. Number three, it is still Keaton Verhoff. Again, ideal prototypical puck moving defender, right shot, great awareness and IQ through the neutral zone. He knows to pick his spots when to jump into the attack in the offensive zone, kind of activates as a force forward, but he knows when to back off and to prioritize defense. The only thing that's my concern with him is just his ability to handle pressure, especially from puck carriers too. Sometimes he could panic. Sometimes he could cough the puck up, as we saw one goal during the World Juniors. Wasn't ideal, but you know what? He's got the skill set. He's got the frame. He is good in one-on-one engagement. He just needs to tighten up a little bit better defensively. This is where it kind of also gets a little bit interesting too, because I feel like Tynan Lawrence could push into number three, and he was this close to bumping down Keaton Verhoff. Despite missing a lot of time with a lower body injury, he was productive in the 13 games that he came back with, I believe, 100% it was Muskegon, the Muskegon Lumberjacks, before he signed with the Boston University Terriers. 13 games, 10 goals, 17 points. I mean, that's something that you can't overlook despite a very small sample for his game, but ultra competitive, does whatever it takes to win. And he didn't look out of place in his first game with BU. So that's a good stepping stone for him and good for his development. He was going to go to that school next year anyway, so why not get it out of the way and help his development a little bit further right now. We'll see how well he progresses, but I don't think that's going to be a concern for him because he is that smart two-way centerman. He's basically a chance and shot generation machine where he wants to generate as much as he can in the offensive zone. Again, strong defensive impact. That's what you want to see as a centerman. And number five, this guy is just shooting up the board for me, and that's Caleb Malhotra from the Brantford Bulldogs. I mean, even during the World Juniors, when, the Brantford Bulldogs had, guys like Adam Benak go, Jake O'Brien was not on the team, but he did go for camp. But Caleb Malhotra was just lighting up the OHL at that point. Right now, fourth overall, 51 points, 38 games. I mean, those are the stats when I wrote it. Could have changed. but the deceptiveness, the IQ, the shiftiness with his agility and movement, he is unpredictable, and it gives defenders massive fits when defending against him. It was evident during that CHL USA Top Prospects game. It's been evident up to this point. If he isn't in some of the other top 10s, great. Everybody has their opinion. I just feel like the sky's the ceiling for him right now, or like he's just absolutely tearing it up, and I could not put him any lower than 5 at this point.
He definitely has shot up the board for sure. And there was talk with the Canucks, of course, they're at the end of the bottom of the league, saying that they could draft him because Manny Malhotra is the coach of the Abbotsford Canucks. So it's like it kind of that'd be kind of cool. All right, Dayton, what do you think about the top 5 there?
Yeah, I think I agree at least with the first 4. I like Stenberg first. We talked about that in the World Junior Roundup. He's, for me, I think he very much established himself as an impact player right now. And McKenna's game, while definitely has a very high ceiling, it just wasn't as complete. And I think there was, we could clearly see which player was better right now. Verhoff, I think, has a lot of potential. Unfortunately, he didn't play a lot at the tournament, but he's doing, I think, really well at North Dakota. Tynan Lawrence has been excellent. Excuse me. And now that he's playing with Boston University, I think there's a good possibility he continues to climb up. And I'm going to be honest, I love a big swing for a top 5. And I feel like Malhotra is a big swing. I very much respect it. Yeah, like he is an exciting prospect coming in the the back half of the season. So if he can keep that up, I think that could be an early prediction that others will rush to copy.
Very bold prediction on my part, I will say, but also the NHL Central Scouting rankings midterm have Malhotra 5th overall as a North American skater. So definitely in that top 10 conversation right now.
For sure. Well, speaking of the top 10, Peter, let's move to the rest of that top 10.
Yeah, number 6 is Chase Reed. A lot of people do have him pushing into that top 5 as well right now, and he had a really decent World Juniors. I mean, the offensive skill set, the tenacity without the puck as well. He's very well rounded and a multi-tool defender. It just seemed like a little bit of that consistency got away from him, just like it did for all Team USA, especially in that game against Sweden. He did have some big moments. I thought he stood out, but again, we're not going to change a whole lot just based on one tournament. I do think that Chase Reed has a lot of upside as a strong puck moving two-way defender, because as much as we applaud his offensive game, his defensive game is pretty strong as well. So he has that going for them. So that's a big plus. That's why I put him at 6. Ethan Belchetz. I mean, this guy is an absolute monster. I mean, the puck battles, the ability to go into the dirty corners, that's his bread and butter right there. And with the way that he powers through defenders and attacks the middle of the ice, like it's just nothing. He really cements himself as one of the top power forwards in this draft. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Great shot, great hands in tight. Again, the production had kind of tailed off a bit, but it seems like it's starting to pick right back up right now. Tied for second, I believe, still in OHL with goals, 25. So that's pretty decent in terms of, draft eligible players. Number 8 is Viggo Bjork. I think we could all attest that, he had a really strong World Junior Championship because of the fact that, there was a little bit of a chip on his shoulder getting a B ranking in the preseason. Maybe he wasn't getting enough opportunities. He was still adjusting, but the skill set was evident, and he became a player that you could rely on in any situation. And yeah, he's maybe 5'10", 5'11", but this is a guy that doesn't care about that. He goes in at like a dirty dish rag, and he will basically, lay it out on the line. He will battle. He will do whatever it takes to win. I mean, whether it's 5-on-5, power play, penalty kill, he will make a difference. He is noticeable every single time he is out there. And again, he probably had a number of chances to play hero in that semifinal game with all the breakaways that he had.
Yeah.
But it didn't quite work out. But because of that speed, because of that skill set, because of that awareness, he was able to generate those chances. So to me, he's definitely worthy of being in a top 10 spot. Number 9, Carson Carrolls, again, didn't play a whole lot or had like limited minutes as well, with Verhoff being the underage defenders on Team Canada. Had his moments, but, you know, still a nightmare to go up against. The strong two-way ability, the ability to keep defenders at the outside, pressure them one-on-one. He is very strong in that, and he's got great attention to detail off the puck. With the puck, too, I mean, he continues to rack up the points, showing that two-way ability. So for me, that's he's easily a top 10 player right now. Showcase it throughout this point throughout the year. And number 10, this is where it could go either way, because there are a lot of options that you could put into that top 10, but I'm still going with Ryan Lynn. I like his smarts, his composure, the decision making that he has with the puck. He wants to be constantly involved. He wants to have the puck as much as possible, kind of like in that essence, like Lane Hudson, where he wants to lead. He wants to be the one distributing the puck and getting everybody those opportunities and looks. So to me, at the moment, he's still a top 10 prospect for me, and he rounds that spot out.
Yeah, I agree. Viggo Bjork is definitely a guy that's really elevated. I mean, World Juniors usually does that for some players, and he definitely kind of solidified his spot as I said, at least a top 15 for sure. He might be a top 10 guy now too. Lots of skill with him. And we were talking about Swedes. The Swedes have kind of come back now. The last couple drafts have been really strong. So it didn't take long for them to reestablish their dominance at the top of the draft. So I think we might see a couple Swedes in the top 10 this year. All right, Dayton, what'd you think about that rest of the top 10?
I mean, once again, very few complaints, if any. Chase Reed has definitely established himself as a top defenseman coming in, especially with his right-handed shot. Belchets is a fantastic goal scorer, and wins are loaded up at the deadline, so they're going to be a team to watch. And especially with him, I imagine he's playing top 6 minutes. Not someone who pays as much attention to the lineups of the OHL. But he seems like a guaranteed spot for a top 6. Great spot. I think he definitely could either solidify a top 10 or move up. Viggo Bjork. How was he a B rating? Very much agree with your assessment there. There's no way he should have been. He was arguably one of the 3 most noticeable players at the World Juniors for Sweden. His 9 points in 7 games was definitely up there. I can't remember how everyone fell, but it was like, who were the most noticeable? Stenberg, Brondell, and probably Bjork, right? They caught your attention every time they stepped on the ice, and that should be the definition of a top 10 pick. Carrolls and Lynn, I like them. They haven't wowed me this year, but I think they could be some of the first defensemen, and especially with Lynn's right-handed shot, I think a top 10 selection, at least at this point, is pretty much guaranteed.
I like the top 10 of. I mean, the thing is, I don't know if everyone's saying this is a strong draft or not. I mean, there are talk that the not first overall pick won't be generational talent. I kind of agree with that. I don't know. I mean, we were talking about that McKenna was a generational player. I don't know if he is now when you're looking at, what he's done this season, but I think there's still solid top first overall picks, and not every draft has a generational talent in it. Like, hey, come on. I mean, there's still going to be exceptional elite players. We're not getting generational talents every year. Although it has seemed like it for a bit here, but really good top 10 for sure. All right, looking back at your last release of your rankings, any big risers? We'll start with the risers, and then we'll, of course, go to the fallers. But who really rose up your list?
Biggest one is definitely Caleb Malhotra. I've had him probably in the late or early second. Let me just go back here for a quick second. I had him 24th. That is a big jump to the top 5 instantly right then and there. Like I mentioned before, he's very hard to beat. He's very deceptive, can bait players, open lanes up very well. He can shoot, he can pass, he can do it all. He just continues to impress me all season long. Other names that moved up or have kind of jumped into the equation, Albert Smits. Really, I thought he looked solid at the World Juniors, and now he has an opportunity to elevate his game at the Olympics right now for Latvia.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to draw a player comparison to him in terms of play style, because I do think he has a little bit more upside, but it kind of reminds me of what Stian Solberg did with Norway. Playing with Norway at the World Juniors and then makes his way to the World Championships. Again, a bit of a senior tournament, a big gap for him to try and adjust. And he did very well. I want to see how well Albert Smith does. A lot of people have him within that top 10 range. I'm not ready to jump on that just yet, but the physical tools are there. The smarts, the ability to jump and lead an attack is definitely there. Eventually he could get there for me. I just haven't been able to anoint him as a top 10 pick or even top 15 just yet. I do like Ilya Morozov as well. I think his development path is similar to that of Vaclav Nestrasil, where, kind of quiet in the very beginning, but he pops off and he has the skill set, the strength, and the ability to do so. Didn't make my list, but he made it into 24th for me. And the other one was Alexander Command and Thomas Shrenko. Shrenko, really good for Slovakia at the World Juniors. Command, flying under the radar, but the patience, the smarts, and positioning that he has to put the puck in a good spot, put himself in a good spot for a scoring chance, to be very deceptive, really stands out. And I don't think he's getting talked enough at this point, but eventually, hopefully he will, because he does have a lot of upside. Looked really good at the World Junior A Challenge as well. He was a point per game player. So those are some of the names that really rose up in terms of rankings, but also jumped into my first round as a result of the first half.
For sure. I mean, again, the World Juniors always kind of affects these rankings for sure. And that's why the midterm rankings come out after that for Central Scouting as well. So, I mean, there's influences there. And of course, the rest of the season too. Dayton, what do you see for risers that really stood out there?
Yeah, you had quite a few guys jump up into the first round here. But I think my eye was drawn most to the two Finns that were 17th and 20th. So you got Oliver Savanto at 17th. He looked great at the World Juniors. I was more impressed with Piperinen. He was just a fantastic shutdown defenseman. Like, you couldn't get around him. I thought his positioning was excellent. He was really strong to go up against. You write that. Talk about defenders being extremely tough to go up against. No question. Piperinen is just like, I think those guys don't get a lot of credit for what they do. It's always more fun to praise the high points getters, right? Like Harold, like Lynn, but you've got somebody who could be just like the perfect shutdown defenseman. Maybe not a first pairing guy, but he'll make your team better. Like, without question. So he was a big jump. I don't think he was listed on your previous list at all. Just scrolling to the bottom here. I know Savanto you mentioned as a names to watch.
Yes.
And no Piperinen.
No Piperinen there, but he rose up and caught my attention throughout the year.
Yeah, definitely deserves it. Also, JP Hurlbert, he's now solidified himself as a first round pick. Man, that kid can score. Like, he's got 26 goals and 63 points in 40 games right now with the Kamloops Blazers. It's somehow Cameron Schmidt has surpassed him, which is pretty impressive. I think just on paper, that's very, very good for Schmidt. We've talked about him a lot. But Hurlbert, I still feel like he kind of came out of nowhere. He was on some radars, but now he is Like, there's no question he's going to be a first round pick.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Cameron Schmidt, he's the guy that we've talked about a lot, and he's showing again. Who drafted him? Dallas Stars. Yeah, so, I mean, they've got another Logan Stankoven in their system already, and it seems like he's there. Yeah, I mean, for this draft, I do agree. Peter Baracchini has really he impressed me before the World Juniors. I think he's one of those guys that you're gonna want on your team. He won't be a guy that'll be flashy, but he will have a big role in in a championship team at some point, I think. So I mean, yeah, I'd say I think will be a first round pick for sure. All right, other side, of course, we have to talk about the fallers as well. Peter, who really fell on your list here?
I mean, especially at the top of the board, it's tough because everyone just got bumped down, like maybe 1 or 2 spots. So it's not really a big drop at the top, but definitely for the bottom for guys like Mathis Preston. Definitely cooled off the hot start that he had. He kind of has picked it up a little bit lately, but it just kind of seems like Preston has kind of soured amongst everybody in the scouting community right now. And even so, like, he's also dropped off to, I mean, we will get to him in the actual Central Scouting rankings, but he's dropped considerably there too, where, coming in, he could have been a top 10, top 15 pick, and now he dropped down to 24th for them as well among North American skaters. I mean, again, consistency is going to be a big case with a lot of these players too, like McKenna not being consistent enough.
Yeah.
Preston not being consistent enough. But when he is on top of his game, I mean, he is just an absolute speed demon. I caught instant of that at the Hlinka Gretzky Cup and even early on too, that when he's flying down the wing, off the boards, cutting in, that's when he's at his best. I mean, he needs to continue to do that and elevate his game in terms of adding a little bit more, unpredictability to it, because he keeps on doing the same thing over and over again. I don't know if he's getting shut down or not, but it just seems like he needs to elevate it just a little bit more. But his skating is his strength. His shot is his strength. If he crashes the middle, that's going to be lights out for the opponent because he does that very, very well. The other one that has, again, fallen considerably for me is Ryan Rubrick. Getting a lot of questions about that too. I mean, this is a guy that had a solid rookie campaign, an even better sophomore campaign, but now his draft year, again, consistency, there's no dominance to his game anymore this season. So I'm wondering if that aspect could come back around. Again, the production has picked up, but I'm still seeing some inconsistencies with his off-puck play, awareness, just a little bit of his work ethic too sometimes. It's very lackadaisical. I mean, throughout the whole entire season, even at the CHL, USA Top Prospects game, I know that he was kind of further down the depth chart, and there were times where he didn't play, and it's just like, well, if he isn't playing, you gotta, I know it's a 2-game showcase, but not playing those games to elevate your game to try and prove the scouts is definitely a huge, not red flag, but a big question mark in his game, where he needs to have that dog in him, kind of like guys like Stenberg, where he has the size, he has the shot, he needs to use that to his advantage a little bit more. And those are the 2 main guys that really is fallen further down the depth chart for me. Another one I had that I still like is Philip Novak. He was in my first round. He dropped the jet, but that's just because of the byproduct of other guys just standing out. I mean, nothing against Novak. I still like his game. He's still one of the top European skaters for me. It's just that everybody else is kind of elevated to play. He's still elevating it, but I just liked what everybody else is giving a little bit more.
Well, like as always, when someone rises up, someone has to fall. So that's what happens, right? So, though definitely some big fallers there. Dayton, who stood out to you as a faller there?
I think I kind of agree with Peter here. Those were the 2 big names. Preston, I still think has a lot of potential. He's got the chance to really, push back into that conversation of a top, at least a lottery pick. I don't know if he's in the top 10 anymore. The other guys have just been more consistent, more dynamic, maybe. His move to the Vancouver Giants should be a beneficial move to him.
Yes.
He can kind of take control a little bit more. I mean, it worked really, like another guy to mention him again, worked really well for Schmidt last season and the beginning of this one. So he kind of steps into that role as a very fast, dynamic player. He just needs that opportunity, right? And then Rubrek, he hasn't really had it this season, has he? I'll pull up his stats again just to get that comparison. Here we go. 87 points last season, 41 goals. He's going to take a step back. Excuse me. That's something in my throat today. It just, like, he's been fine, but for someone who had a rookie season like that, you'd expect him to be a 100-point player. And I think you could almost compare it with what's happening with Gavin McKenna, right? We expected him to be at least a point per game player in the NCAA, hopefully more for what he showed at the WHL level. And he's showing that he is a point per game player, but is there anything else there,
Yeah.
And his game has been picked apart because he got so hot so fast, and now it's cooled off. I think we can be very, blunt about that. And that's kind of the same problem with Rubrek. He hasn't been that, he hasn't taken that next step. He's been about the same. So hopefully still a very talented player there. But sometimes when you see a player take a step back like that in their draft season after a strong rookie, it's not a great trajectory.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, especially, you're supposed to be going up, not down, or plateauing already. You should be, especially when you're such a highly touted guy, and then your draft season. I think he'll probably still be a first round pick, maybe. But we'll see if he can kind of pick it up for the rest of the season too. All right, let's move. We've alluded to the midterm rankings or NHL Central Scouting. So let's jump in and talk about. We'll start with the North American list, and we've talked about a few of these players already. But North American, of course, is led by Gavin McKenna. Up at the top, that didn't change. Ken Verhoff is still number 2. So I'll start with you, Dayton, on this. Who did you see? I guess we can talk about riser, just guys that kind of stood out on this list or where they're placed. We'll start with you here.
So when I was mentioning Piperinen earlier, I was saying that guys like that get overlooked quite often. And I feel like one of the guys on the North American list that is kind of suffering that same sort of, to lack of a better term, discrimination is Daxon Rudolph. He's a guy who I notice every time he steps on the ice, he is calm. He's got such good positioning. And he also has that ability to break into the offensive zone and pull off moves that forwards should be able to do, but somehow can't. He is just a very dynamic player, great two-way presence. And I feel like 6th might be a bit too low for what he's bringing to the table here. I think he's a little underrated because he's not a flashy player. He never has that, Carter Yakimchuk level of break into the zone and try to do a spinorama because, he's not making stupid decisions, is what I would say. Like, Yakimchuk was doing that when he was 18, which is fine. You can do that, but he's playing such a mature game. I really like it. I think he should be a lock for the top 10. Also, I see that Tynan Lawrence is behind him. That's another guy who should be higher.
Yeah.
Those two guys, I would probably put them 3 and 4. I think Carols and Reed are great. I don't think I've seen that dynamicism that I've seen from those other two.
Peter, what about you for the North American list? What'd you see? I'll just open the floor, whatever you want to talk about.
Again, too, like I had that battle for Lawrence and Malhotra. I still have Lawrence with the edge and Malhotra right behind him, but they think otherwise. They have him ahead of Lawrence. And again, that may create a bit of not a big controversy, but an interesting debate too, because both are two-way forwards, but one has a little bit more skill. One has a little bit more of that, not tenacity, but that work ethic, that drive in terms of battling hard. I'm not saying that Malhotra doesn't do that. It just seems like, Lawrence already has a resume with him. He has some awards. He has, the Clark Cup championship. He was an MVP for Muskegon. This guy has the ability to elevate his play to another level. Same with Malhotra. Interesting to see. I just want to see how this battle is going to work itself out, because both are very promising players and I like both of them. It's just that now it's going to come down to see, do teams really like the speed of Malhotra a little bit more compared to what Lawrence has? I don't know. But the other thing that I also want to mention too is the battle of the power forwards. I mentioned Morozov. He's ahead of Belchets. Morozov is 8, Belchets is 9. So that's going to be interesting to see who has that advantage. I guess Morozov could have a little bit more projectability, but, Belchets at 6'5", 228, being a 25 goal scorer already, being among the top draft eligible players in the OHL, hard to overlook that. Oscar Hemming too, given the situation that transpired earlier this season where, it looked like he was going to go over and play in Kitchener, but his, Finnish club wouldn't allow that. Then he went over to sign in the BCHL, but there's a bit of a problem there where, it would affect his eligibility to play internationally if he did play there. So the next best option was to basically go to university route, and he's looking really good in Boston College right now. I believe he has 2 points in 2 games, both assists, but the speed, power, and the determination that he has in his play, didn't know exactly where he would fall on this list because he has missed like at least half of the season. But it seems like he hasn't missed a beat. He's looking very strong. He's got that speed aspect to his game, and he's within the top 15 right now. And I had him, I believe, late in my first, but right now he's projected to be kind of like a mid first round pick right now. So that's a good thing for him going in terms of getting caught up to speed in just a short amount of time too. So that to me is just very impressive for Hemming.
Yeah, one guy I'll mention. I mean, you're looking at, we mentioned him before, JP Hobart at 10 on this midterm rank. I don't know where he was in the first time, but I mean, yeah, he's really impressed for sure. So, and Nikita Klepov at 16, his teammate, they're both the guys that have seemed, not teammate, used to be, I guess. Klepov, Saginaw Spirit, he's been really good as well. So, really high-end production for him, and really helping the Spirit with losing the 2 really high picks that are, of course, in the NHL right now. All right, let's move to the international list, and we've talked about a few of these players already as well. Peter, who do you see on this one? Lots of names that really hard to pronounce.
I mean, again, we already mentioned Viggo Bjork. He finally got the respect that he deserved to be a top 5 player. I mean, Elton Hermanson has just been very dominant in his age group. I guess Bjork, given his ability to jump to the next level, I think he may just still have playing limited minutes compared to Stenberg. There's that difference, but I think he's been playing really well when he's been given that opportunity. I didn't mention Malte Gustafsson in terms of like a little bit of a riser, but I love his 2-way game. I think him in that 8 spot really puts him middle of the pack as a defender, given his 2-way ability, great skater through the neutral zone, really strong defender as well. Thomas Sharenko at 16, I'm a big fan of his because of the way that he produced for Slovakia. But I think the biggest thing right now, and it still seems to me like he's still not getting the respect that he deserves right now, is Thomas Galvis at 69, considering what he did at the World Juniors. I get the hesitation because of that lack of size, lack of that, strength that he can get thrown off. But dude was weaving in and out of like attackers nonstop. And again, not putting him in the conversation as a Quinn Hughes or a Lane Hudson, but the way that he was skating and he was holding onto that puck to evade bigger opponents is exactly the way that Lane Hudson and Quinn Hughes did, or they do on a nightly basis. So to me, having him at 69 when he probably should be a little bit higher up, given, and again, this is going to be his third time through the draft.
Yeah.
I really would like to see him maybe push in that second page, round 2 area kind of thing, where he's in that 33 to 45 slot. I think that would be a little bit better for him. And I don't know, just a couple of underrated Swedes that I started getting to notice too. Max Isaacson and Ludvig Anderson were 2 names that I really started to come onto in terms of their overall game and the upside that they have. Both forwards, one is a center, the other is a wing. I don't know. I want to dive a little bit more into them before I could, put them on my next list, but I wouldn't be surprised if they make my list on my March rankings, be it as a second or third rounders, because I'm coming around to them and I want to see a little bit more of what they can do.
For sure. Dayton, what about you for the international list?
I really like that Smits is second. He had a great tournament. Easily the most noticeable guy on the Latvian team, and I like the comparison to I forgot the Norwegian's name again.
Solberg.
Yes, Solberg.
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic comparison. I could definitely see that happening. Just a really skilled, complete player already. I mean, he's already 6'3", 205, playing in the men's league at 18. He's gonna be fine. But I appreciate that recognition, especially for a player who comes from a very small hockey country, right? Viggo Bjork, you mentioned, he is now getting that recognition he deserves. I will be honest, I haven't looked at a ton of the European guys yet. Trying to pull up one guy here though, who I was paying a little bit of attention to earlier. Loading is something. Philip Novak, I think, is somebody that we should pay attention to moving forward. He was selected in the CHL import draft, but chose to stay in Czechia, from what I remember. He has 2 games in the Czech men's league already. No points yet, but 28 points in 24 games with the under 20 team. He's got some dynamicism to his game, and I think he could be a sneaky player coming into this second half. Definitely a guy to watch.
For sure. So, I mean, there's lots of names that we'll, of course, dive into more as the draft season keeps going here. And lots of these will have prospect profiles. So make sure you're keeping an eye out for all that as well. And I misspoke earlier. JP Hurlberg, I don't know why I thought he was a teammate of Saginaw. I'm thinking of someone else. But I'd say lots of great names that we'll be diving into more for sure. All right, I want to finish with the goaltenders, because this is going to be something we'll be talking about, because it's not the strongest class for goalies this year. Not the guys last draft, really, there wasn't a ton of big names either that were going to be first round picks or anything like that. But I think it was still probably a stronger class than it was this year, although that might change as we keep going here. Dayton, I'll start with you, because you will be writing an article on this soon. What do you see with the goalies this year on both lists here? Anyone that really stands out as someone maybe it'll be the first one to go off the board? I don't know. We don't really have a consensus, I don't think, at this point.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm seeing is there's maybe 6-8 names that could be taken first. But when will they go? We're probably not looking at a first round goalie pick this year. There's a couple of guys who might sneak in. Brady Noling is probably the top guy right now. He topped the North American goalie list. He's playing with the NTDP under 18 team in the US. 6'5", very good size. He's quite calm in net. I like his positioning. He was with the World Juniors, did fine. The team in front of him didn't give him a lot of chance in his only game. I think that was more of the issue in the 6-3 Sweden loss. But yeah, he's got some very good skills and tendencies. I think scouts are just wanting to see them more often. We also have Michael Orsolak, who is second on the list. He wasn't really considered, a name to watch coming into the World Juniors, but his performance with the Czechs was really, really good. I liked what I saw there.
Yeah.
And I've also seen him in the WHL play for Prince Albert once already, and I will see them more coming up. There's, I think, 4 games that they'll play with the Blades here in the future. Gotta love the WHL schedule, right?
Seen Braden Coots a little more too.
I'm very excited about that. Yeah, definitely going to go to those games. But Orsolak, which is somebody to keep an eye on, second overall in the North American list. Over on the European list, I was watching František Politin. He was sort of the top-ranked European before the midterm. He's now 5th, and Dmitry Borachev from Russia, he has taken over the top spot. Some people who were really in tune with the goalie list really like him. He's got a quick glove. He's very reactive. He's got those I guess those natural skills that you want to see in a goalie. But he also plays in the MHL, which is, from what I gather, one of the hardest leagues to scout in of anything. It's just so all over the place. So you really got to make sure you know what you're looking for in those clips. Yeah, but he could definitely be something there. One of my favorites, who isn't getting a lot of recognition, is Parker Snell with the Edmonton Oil Kings. He's a little on the undersized at 6'2", which is crazy to say for a goalie. I say this every year. It's 4 or 5 inches taller than I am. So
yeah,
like I'm looking up to an undersized player. That's not a great feeling. But whenever I've seen Edmonton play, he is so unbelievably calm. Like, he is fazed by nothing. And then his movements are very, very small. He's not making a ton of adjustments, just following the play. And then he's just in the road of the puck at all times. He doesn't need to make these crazy reflexive, incredibly good positioning. He's not making desperation saves. He's just in the right place at the right time. He's 21st on the midterm list for North America. So I think those are the 4 or 5 guys I'll mention for now.
All right. Peter, you have anything to add with discussion of the goalies here?
Yeah, I mean, very difficult to try and get a grasp on this class, because I know last year it was always, the talk of Ravensburg and Ivan Kovic, those guys. This year, again, stat-wise, numbers aren't always going to be everything, especially for goalies too. But, Nolan does have a lot of projectability and upside. Same with Orsolak. I mean, he just came out of nowhere as an unsung hero for Czechia to get them to a silver medal for them. And again, we talked all about the roster up and down, but a lot of credit goes to him because he made a lot of big time saves to keep Czechia in them. And when things were looking a little bit dicey, especially in that Canada game, he stood above the rest and stood tall. The North American side, there's also Harrison Bottiger as well. Switched over from the NTDP to play in the WHL this year, and he was on the CHL top prospects roster when he played on USA's last year. So that's a little bit of a switching of the sides for him a little bit there. Zachary Jovanovski is another name. He's coming in at 10 as well that you need to keep an eye on for me from the OHL as well. In terms of Europe, the European side too, it is a little bit difficult to scout goaltenders, especially in that Russian MHL level. But yeah, hearing a lot of good things about Borachev too. I mean, the record doesn't tell the bigger picture, but when you look at his 179 save goals against average and 940 save percentage in 14 games and 3 shutouts too. I think you're going to be moving up the draft charts or draft boards and become the top European, goal or international goaltender, so to speak. So It is a very difficult class. I mean, usually there is like one or two guys battling it out. There's like multiple names that could be the first one off the board. And again, as Dayton mentioned too, it's not a matter, it's more of a matter of where they're going to be selected too. Because at this point right now, I don't see any of them as a first. I don't even see some of these as a second rounder at best, mid to late.
Yeah.
But that's all depending on what teams value a little bit more in terms of adding to their prospect pool.
Yeah. I mean, goalies are always tough. I mean, you see all these guys that get drafted in the 6th round and they're starters now. I mean, it's Archer Shilovs is, I don't know if he's a starter, but he's in the NHL and he's he was a 6th round pick. So, I mean, there's a lot of goalies that are in that range where 3rd, 4th, 5th round, and they're good. I mean, I think UC Saros, I believe, was a late round pick as well. So, I mean, there's all these goalies that you're looking at. They're not always 1st, 2nd round picks. They're, deeper down. And the development path is always interesting. Some goalies take a lot longer to develop. Others are in the league within the first 2 years. So, I mean, there's just, it's so hard to gauge what a goalie is going to be 5 years down the road, which is probably when they're going to be in the NHL. So, we'll see where any of these guys kind of go. And who knows, one of them may become one of the next great starters in the NHL. And we're not talking about him right now. So we'll see how that all shakes out when the draft gets going. All right. Well, that's our annual episode of Midterm Rankings and Peter's Rankings at the same time. We did the same thing last year. I looked back at our episodes, the same thing. So it seemed like it came out around the same time. But thanks, Peter. Thanks, Dayton, for coming on, talking draft as always, prospects. And we'll keep talking about it, of course, throughout as we get closer and closer to the draft, which is actually not that far away if you're looking at it. It'll come back really quickly. The Olympics are around the corner. There are some prospects, like you mentioned. Schmitz is going to be there. I don't know if there's any others, other draft eligible prospects going to be playing in the Olympics, but we'll keep an eye out there for sure. But make sure to check out everything at thehockeywriters.com. We got great articles, prospects, World Juniors, still some trickling out of that. And then, of course, all the other prospect coverage we got, and lots more draft stuff to come as well. But until our next episode, we will see you next time.